Welcome to Impossible Live. Welcome back if you're joining us again. It's truly been a pleasure preparing and catching up with you recently. If you're joining us today and it's your very first time, I just want to thank you for popping in and give you a warm welcome to Impossible Live and wish you a magnificent day filled with opportunities and possibilities. Today's topic is Replenish Trust, This Too Shall Pass. It's a song by Phyllis Hyman. And if you're joining us on assorted platforms, please say hi. Let us know where you're joining us from. And let us know a way we can help you in between our weekly Impossible Lives so that others who are watching have a chance to meet you, get to know you, and learn about your magic. One of the things that I'd love to say is that This Too Shall Pass is a song that was released after Phyllis Hyman's death. And in an interesting way, it was released. The title of the album is I Refuse to Be Lonely. And the words of the song, some of which you'll see that I've shared in our introduction to today. And one of the reasons, as you would say, we're in a world where the discernment part is really important. Hey, Jackie, thank you for your magic and for popping in to join us today. And for Jackie and others who I haven't had a chance to raise a glass with recently, let's raise a glass and toast to something wonderful. Merrill, happy Groundhog Day. What side did the groundhog end up on, Merrill? Because boy, it's a little chilly here. It's a little chilly for some of our friends all over. Today you'll see Mel is in her I'm That Auntie shirt. Today's the day as I'm in mom's living room again. And as some of you who joined us yesterday at Omar's and Leslie Flowers when she pops in. And here's Leslie from Raleigh. So, Leslie, mom, this is mom's house. And mom will let us know when she pops downstairs. So I'll let you know too, Leslie, today may be another day for closed caption. Happy Monday, Sean Michael. And to those of you joining us later on a replay, thank you so much for just popping in. You'll notice a new playlist, Replenish Trust, because in all of the conversations that we've been having recently about cultivate trust and Replenish Trust really popped up when Amalia Gardner invited me to host a March series of master classes in her amazing audio leadership club. Some of you may be familiar as members, and if you haven't had a chance, Amalia Gardner, someone to watch in a wonderful way. When she invited me to come up with a series for March on trust, I knew there were 5 weeks, so I came up with Cedar. Cedar's around the spiritual side of a tree. Think of it as the process of cultivate trust, explore trust, develop trust, activate trust, and replenish trust. And another part of the series in Amalia's community was called Identify Your Trust Opportunities. But today we're starting a new playlist, Replenish Trust, because in the presentations about trust, and particularly in Lanier Johnston's linkability community, we tuned in, honored to tune in with Lanier for her linkability insights last week. And in it, questions were popping up, and including Leslie had some too. And I really appreciate that you're here for this, and Jackie for holding space for our mental health and for our well-being and for our care, and that Sean's here for mindset. And here's Merrill, shouting us out. We want to thank you all for all you do. That part about replenish trust is challenging because replenish trust means something's broken. Some things maybe needs to be repaired, and it's not always possible. It's not always possible because people in a relationship aren't willing. And you'll notice today we rise and soar thanks to StreamYard. That wonderful logo is up in the corner. So, yes, Mike, there's another song coming on. But you'll notice We Rise and Soar. We had a We Rise and Soar open house last week, and We Rise and Soar is a new opportunity to come pop in and join us twice a month for like an open house to keep spreading your seeds so others find out more about your services. We help you discover new opportunities, and we help you find new ways to cherish. And as Jackie's saying, mental health and self care is so very important. Phyllis Hyman, this song was not written by Phyllis, and she recorded it on the album I Refuse to Be Lonely. And then Phyllis decided to take an early exit plan. And the reason why I remember this album so much is we were on vacation in Aruba, bone beanie, nice and warm. And we learned that she had passed away. And we were so surprised because she always seemed up, energizing way. And it's the reminder in this song, this too shall pass. It's about tapping in when sometimes our faith walk has been challenged, when we're not always feeling our most positive, when, as I'm sharing in complex seasons of gratitude, grief, and growth, this weekend honored to celebrate the newest member of our families, her first birthday, as we're preparing tomorrow to celebrate mom's birthday, which is why, Leslie, when mom comes down and closed caption is needed, I may say, Leslie, in the comments, hey, time for closed caption. And I love it, Mike, because you're talking about writing one. So, Mike, I'm focusing on writing the book that I've been dreaming of since 2022. So let's talk some more because Mike has designed and written an amazing song for us for Be Visible Solutions. And I'm hoping Mike and I'll get together over the next couple of weeks and we will really dive into it with some suggestions of some tweaks. But yep, Mike, it's about a journey of who you need to surround yourself with. It's a choice of where we sit. It's a choice of where we are. I had that choice on Saturday at our great niece's 1 year old birthday party. I came in and we brought in food and appetizers, and there's mom. So I sat near mom to start. And I kind of stayed there. And I loved that spot because I got to see children of all ages playing as a living room was kind of turned into a playground. Our great niece's mom is an occupational therapist, and she had all these removable fabric blocks that young ones of all ages, they were able to do somersaults. Someone did a split. They were doing rolls and, creating a fort. And that's one of the things, too, about this too shall pass. There's just some stuff happening. And I thank Leslie Flowers because a comment Leslie made about 5 weeks ago reminded me to pick this song. And it's no accident that today's a day of Replenish Trust. This too shall pass, as Black History Month just kicked off. And in some countries, in some circles, in some communities, it's not something that some celebrate. But I'm wearing the I'm That Auntie shirt as I had a chance to be a great aunt and watch our newest, youngest family member walking on tippy toes and then rolling over and just crawling. But I got to watch through the lens of thinking of the future. Because sometimes there's something happening in the present, there's something happening that we're sitting with, that we're struggling with, that we're holding on to, whether it's this extreme cold that's kind of taken over the US, or yeah, you should see Leslie Flowers, pictures of snow, and friends who were in the Carolinas speak of being in a situation unexpectedly of food insecurities. And we actually talked with Omar about that a little bit yesterday as I remembered a wonderful woman that I used to see often in my commuting days of going to Grand Central, who was homeless. And right now, there's a lot of people cold. There's a lot of the same supply chain issues in some cases that we experienced during the pandemic. But this too shall pass is about the hope. And it's really about the hope. Ah, thank you, Mike. Mike, shine on also. I love that. Shine on, Mike. Shine on. It's another reason. Hey, Lisa, thanks for warm, sunny breezes from you and Sean Michael. Let us know what temperature it is near you. Keep those of us who are ready to get a little warmer. But in this too shall pass, whether you had a chance to listen to Phyllis Hyman's song or listen to the album, which was released a little bit over 3 decades ago. So it's another vintage song. Is that one of the things about Phyllis's song that really caught me was a line: sometimes you tell me you're weary in spirit, sometimes you cry out and no one can hear it. People you trust can sometimes be strangely unkind. Though you are caught up in grieving, though you could give up believing, don't you lose sight of the answer you helped me to find. This too shall pass away. The longest night becomes the day. Hold up your head and say, this too shall pass away. This too shall pass away. Out of the darkness, the clouds will always part. The moment faith is in your heart. So let me hear you say, this too shall pass away. If you believe, the truth will set you free. So let me hear you say, this too shall pass away. This too shall pass away. Remember, truth was told by someone. This too shall pass away. And when you're weary in spirit, God will hear it if you believe. You will be free. Yes, you will be free. I don't usually read the lyrics in a post. And as Jackie's saying, yep, it's really frustrating when people we trust are not caring. But I think sometimes that it's not just that they may not care, they may not be aware. Leslie would say yesterday, a really good example. We have to really pay attention to what's going on, the nonverbal cues, the verbal ones. In the case of Phyllis Hyman, who sang she sang, my wonderful uncle, who's a guardian angel now. Yep, Aries, all shall pass. As our uncle would say, he had a name for Phyllis, and he used to laugh that we used to go to see her concert so much. She was a musician, and he had another name for Phyllis that could not fit in a dictionary. And Mike and Aries, hey, Kimberly, welcome from chilly Chicago. Ari says, all shall pass. It's only whether we let it pass. And Mike would say, know thyself. Allow the universe to flow around you, shining your light into the darkness. And yep, Mike, that's one of the lines in this song. But I think it's the reminder, check on that person that you haven't had a chance to speak to recently. Something happens, something hits, something aligns. You never know when it's our last conversation, when it's our last opportunity to share words with someone. And sometimes to be able to share gratitude. I've been trying to lean firmly into this practice every week of reaching out to 2 to 3 people to thank them. People I haven't had a chance to send a thank you note yet, or people haven't had a chance to meet in person. And I think as this too shall pass, and it'll line up as Kimberly Lechnick and I resume our Pockets of Peace series shortly, is that we're really hoping for pockets of peace, but at times something's happening. We really wish it would move someplace else. Not necessarily to another community, not necessarily to another house, not necessarily to another culture. But think of the people in Alaska, the days of light and dark. In those days where it's incredibly bright, they're probably waiting for the dark so they can chill a little bit. And we look for the opposite. But in terms of trust, in terms of replenish trust, this too shall pass would be an invitation in a relationship where two people or more are willing to rejuvenate it, to spark things up, to light things up, to cultivate trust. On the other hand, as Merrill says, Pennsylvania, they're predicting 6 more weeks of winter on Groundhog Day. I'm so not surprised. What I appreciate too, in Coach Carrie, welcome to Leslie's carousel of live streams. And Coach Carrie says Coach Carrie's very aware of how she treats people, and she has a heightened awareness of how they treat her. We attract the lessons we need to sign us to our higher selves. I think sometimes that that part of attraction, and I've been around a long time for the law of attraction. I think sometimes we have a magnet. It's not what we attract. We're amplifying and we're tuning into the vibes of the stuff we really need to listen to. There's a lesson there, a lesson we learned, and yep, and as Mike's saying, listen to your gut about those stirrings. You don't know what tomorrow brings, and bring love into the now. I We're in a world where I'm very appreciative of my retired first responder, as in September it will be 25 years of never forget. And it's an anniversary of a day my love was working, and a day when I was working in Manhattan. So we were in two different boroughs. I'm the girl from the Bronx. And at that time, we lived in the Hudson Valley. And the Hudson Valley is about 42 miles from Manhattan. The part of where we live in New York, you push the push pin in as New York's turning left. And that day we learned about replenish trust. It took a while. Some relationships seriously changed that day. Our viewpoints really changed. And yep, Kimberly, we are definitely magnets. Definitely. I think one of the challenging parts is we're also magnets for change. I laugh because I've been using StreamYard thanks to amazing tech gurus since about 2018. And from an event perspective, next year will be 20 years of live events. And the virtual events popped in around 2018. So I'm appreciative for it. But I'm laughing now because in StreamYard, as in LinkedIn, it's a whole new event management system. StreamYard's playing with your colors and where your information is. LinkedIn's playing by giving us new stream keys and URLs and all sorts of informations. We are in the heaviest technological, fragile AI world, as I call it, possible. I saw something this morning that made me laugh. And when I saw it, I knew immediately in our fragile AI world, I was looking at AI. It still made me laugh. And I appreciate that because as we were talking about from a perspective of having some more self care, today was an extreme self care day. After a weekend of kind of cooking for family, after we leave you today, there'll be turkey soup on the stove because I discovered the box of tissues that's nearby while hanging around with all the young kids and everybody kissing and hugging. And in that process, also, today's a batch cooking of vegetables days. And that's the funniest part, my family will say. When it's fall, when it's winter, you can get Mel in the kitchen in a minute. I will chop vegetables for hours. We prepared tons of chicken wings this weekend. We prepared some dry ribs and Dr. Davina's. Woo! Her Dr. Davina's amazing dry rub for ribs and chicken wings. Ooh, look it up sometime. It gave a great deal of pleasure. But in the process of replenishing trust, process of locating stronger relationships, that we have an opportunity to cultivate trust, to explore trust, to develop trust, to attract or activate trust. And one of the challenges about that is, just like the Never Forget Day, we learned a lot about our neighbors. We learned a lot about our workplace cultures, about people who we had never seen express emotion before. And Kimberly, you're getting hungry? Kimberly, you'll be happy I didn't take any pictures of the 2 trays of wingettes or of the 2 racks of ribs. And then yesterday was sausage and peppers day. So, yes, self care, I'm learning as mom's birthday, the fridge will be full, whether mom decides these are things she wants to enjoy or not. But at least the opportunity will be there. And I think the part about this too shall pass is we have a choice of what we accept as permanent in our lives. We have a choice sometimes of where we live, of where we work, of where we eat, of where we worship, of the sacred spaces that we hang out with, that we come and visit. And in that process, we need to keep exploring and learning. But if you haven't had a chance recently to check into these conversations we're having about trust, reach out and let me know, because Replenish Trust was a conversation that we had in our Cedar series that it's repeating more often. The times are calling for it. The AI fragile world is calling for it. The relationships after people have just celebrated the holidays, or they hunkered down and decided, I need a little less drama. We're just staying home to chill. But I think the part about wanting something to not be as permanent, we have to really approach that then from the lens, and we've done this as a session title of the song Everything Must Change. Everything is going to change. Whether we welcome it, we accept it, we're prepared for it, we learn for it or not. And that part about this too shall pass, even me cooking in the kitchen, my family will laugh. It's going to end. And I think in that process, just like watching the next generation on the tippy toes, I'm looking forward to seeing her walking on flat feet. But we laughed all the time. We probably didn't do that as kids. It's like watching a ballerina. It's like watching the graceful act. And in that part of really treasuring the opportunity to celebrate with family, to really lend our voices to support our loved ones, to exchange some very, very late holiday gifts because people had illnesses around the holidays. But in these lines of Phyllis Hyman's This Too Shall Pass is the reminder we can either tap into our faith, we can tap into supporting others who are atheists or others' religions, we can tap into helping each other, or we can continue to treat our relationships like they're drive-bys. And that part about really being present and really being aware, our awareness is going to change. We're going to be tired. We're going to be overloaded. We're going to be overstimulated. And sometimes we're not going to be ready, and we're not going to be willing to embrace the changes that are popping or the times that they're popping up. But regardless, I really hope this invitation to lean into the words of Phyllis's home, Phyllis's song, and if there's somebody from a home perspective that that doesn't feel like they're at home, like they're at peace, consider reaching out. You hear them, you see them, you feel them. Let them know that you hear them, because our opportunities to communicate, this too shall pass. I want to thank you for popping in live and joining us today. for inviting friends, for spreading seeds, for trying to stay warm in this crazy weather as we're waiting for Shawn Michael and Lisa Fevek to send us some warm weather from another country. Send some warm summer breezes. But as Merrill would say, Groundhog says we have a minimum of 6 more weeks of winter. So thank you much for joining us. Stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, and stay in touch. Take great care until we talk again. And have a magnificent and peaceful day filled with opportunities, blessings, and possibilities. If we have not spoken recently, please click one of the links in my profile and let's reconnect and create a space, or pop in a couple of weeks for our next We Rise and Soar open house, which will be on February 13th. Take great care of each other. And let's be really, really, really careful out here.